Is burnout always about overwork, or can it come from avoiding something deeper within ourselves? I mean, this is kind of what you were talking about
Exactly.
in the other one,
Yeah. Yeah.
touching on it.
Yeah.
Is burnout always about overwork, or can it come from avoiding something deeper within ourselves?
What do you think?
I don't think can it. I think it is,
Facts.
right? The amount of energy that is self-generated within um the space of, I'm gonna call it love,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is insane,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always generating over and over again. And it's almost like you watch these sci-fi shows
Mm-hmm.
where like they have this like nuclear infusion or whatever it is that's like this little thing that will generate,
Bless
alhamdulillah, thank you, that will generate infinite energy,
you. Mm-hmm.
right? I feel that's possible in that pocket or in that space of love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using love because I don't know what other word to describe it by.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and case in point, like when we go to the assembly of lovers,
Mm-hmm.
the gatherings of, we're drumming, chanting, stuff like that. I'm tired. Sometimes I'm sick or not sick, like my throat is
Mm-hmm.
hurting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then boom, I'm in that space. Just the whole thing of energy just comes, within, and it's self-generating. Well,
Yeah.
not self, I don't mean when I say self-generating, uh, meaning it's coming. What I'm saying is like it's not external in that sense,
Uh-huh.
right? It's an internal generating of energy,
Yeah.
right? That comes in. My voice now is open. Before I'm like, I can't even talk, or I'm fasting, or damn, my throat is so dry. Da, 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 da. We sit down, the drum comes, and it's like, woof, and
Yeah.
it's in that space where what might have been quote unquote burnt out, now it's because I'm in that space of that's much deeper, that's in a container that I'm in my zone, quote unquote, or I'm
Yeah.
in my pocket. That energy is just, it's
Yeah.
ever available,
Yeah.
So burnt out, having it be about overwork,
Oh.
it it can, and probably that's how most people experience it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's because most of the time we're doing stuff that we don't want to be doing,
Yeah.
So then burnout
Yep.
comes in and stuff like that. And the other thing that I will add to that is um over um using certain not faculties, what would that word be? Centers, I guess, within our being overly used, right? So or underused, right? So the balance between, let's say, the physical, the emotional, the
Mm-hmm.
intellectual, the psychological,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things, the spiritual form to have some way of balance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
A couple of months ago when I spoke to my teacher, I'm like, I'm waiting, I'm going in with like a, spiritual, like,
Mm-hmm.
tell me about this, tell me about that. And then she was like, work out,
Mm.
right? Like, mm, okay, cool, amazing, but have that center be activated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So having some sort of equilibrium
Mm-hmm.
between these different centers of the physical, the emotional, um, intellectual, psychological, spiritual, whatever
Mm-hmm.
these things. I think that in itself will alleviate what we might experience as burned out from quote unquote overwork.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with this idea of like touching the flow state or being in flow state or being in your zone or pocket. And I feel like what's happening in moments like that, this nervous system, this body, with these bodies, there's just the physical expression of it, but there's multiple things happening here in this one nervous system, things that we cannot see, light body, subtle body, physical body, that correlates to emotions and intellect and um, love, the finest feeling level. Each of them have, from a Vedic perspective, different sheaths or bodies that are intermingled together and having expressions as we walk around here, right? But when we have that focus centered on this one point, like let's say if it's the chanting and drumming, there's a level of symmetry between all these sheaths or bodies that allow, because it's tapped into, it is from the Vedic perspective, chat, Satchitananda, eternal bliss consciousness, our deepest sense of self, and is an infinite source of intelligence and energy, and it's what many places or religions call God,
Hmm.
right? And so when we're in that state, we're tapping into this symmetry between all these sheaths, all these bodies that are this
You're
one
saying
body,
sheaths?
sheaths,
Sheath?
sheath, sheath.
Sheath?
Yeah. It's like layer,
Oh,
a layer, a physical body, an emotional body,
yeah.
a intellectual body, like that.
Yeah.
Um, and because of whether it's trauma or too much to eat or whatever different things that happen, this system that's so intelligently brought together discombobulates,
Hmm.
and we don't have access to everything that we are. So we make choices and do things that cause the system to be thrown off and, you know,
Hmm.
in certain ways, like not operating in its optimum state.
Hmm.
But states like that, I feel like these different bodies have realigned
Hmm.
to their ultimate symmetry and
Hmm.
allows for that power that's deeper than the physical to come up and emerge
Yeah.
into the space with
Yeah.
us. This is how athletes get in that flow state, or musicians, they're in their pocket playing their music. There's something else going on there. Um, this is what happens when we're drumming and
Hmm.
singing, like you get into this zone, or maybe somebody in prayer or a poet. It's this beautiful talisman as a physiology coming together in all its faculties and centering that focus on one sort of, I'm going to say, divine
Hmm.
moment,
Hmm.
and allowing the full complete expression to come out into the world.
Hmm.
um, I think anything other than that is probably going to some degree against natural law.
Hmm.
And when you go against natural law, meaning the order of flow,
Hmm.
um, that things naturally progress in,
Hmm.
um, it causes suffering.
Yeah.
It causes burnout. So if I'm saying yes when it really is a no,
Hmm. Hmm.
and if I'm saying the opposite,
Yeah.
or if I don't even really know what it is I want, I'm just in a state of confusion.
Hmm.
All these things speak to a nervous system,
Hmm.
or nervous systems, if you will, that's out of sync,
Yeah.
and what moments, like whether it's transcendence or being in the zone or the flow state, whatever it looks like, allows for natural law, this divinity to come through us that allows us to engage with reality in a way that is complete flow,
Hmm.
complete, tapped into infinite source of energy
Yeah.
and intelligence.
Hmm.
But, because we're moving around in the world and going through things, we get knocked off center, and
Yeah.
these different parts of us get thrown different kinds of way, and we see through the emotional eye more than the intellectual eye, or
Hmm.
there's no symmetry, there's no
Yeah.
integration, no synergy.
Yeah.
But when that synergy comes, it's like we're like an avatar walking on the earth
Hmm.
in those moments.
Hmm.
you know Anything that's not that is probably going to lead to burnout.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I
you know
agree. And yeah, life itself, right? Because, the question that comes up is then is somebody always supposed to be in that flow state? You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the balance of like, okay, if now I know that, then how do I actually rest when I'm not in that flow state,
Yeah.
right? How do I actually take care of my body? How do I take care of
Yeah.
my emotions? How do I
Yeah.
take care of my intellect how do I keep it sharp? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, my spirituality, my devotion, all of these things,
Yeah.
so that because that's the thing about these flow states, like, that's why, I mean, it's maybe when I'm in that space of what I call as like the presence or the bubble of love,
Mm-hmm.
it may not necessarily be a flow state,
Mm-hmm.
you know? It doesn't necessarily need to look like a flow state, even though it's still generating,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, but when I'm not in that, how am I taking care of myself outside of
Facts.
that? You know what I mean? So
Facts.
that it doesn't, lead to that burnout.
Facts.
Um, and that I am establishing within myself a level of receptivity when that flow state comes in,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say that is because I think there's a level of grace
Mm-hmm.
that flow state comes in,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, that you're building up yourself. There's some kind of effort
Mm-hmm.
that's taking place. And that effort, I think, is in the expansion of one's receptivity, one's container.
Mm-hmm.
And then the flow state, by the grace of God,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, Meaning like, it's not like, okay, now I'm gonna go in flow state. Boom. You know?
Yes.
So that work that's outside of that flow state
Yeah.
and increasing the capacity in rest and whatever, all these things, so that that burnout
Yeah.
one is not in constant state of burnout, that their capacity started to dim, that even if the flow state wanted to come in, there's no capacity for it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Not saying that that's the thing, everything is possible, um, by the
I
grace
feel
of
you.
God, but having outside of these states, having ways in which one is being,
Exactly.
rest, whatever it is that may look like for the person or for oneself.
Yeah. I feel you.
Hmm.
I think that you reminded me in this conversation just now about the difference between state and station.
Hmm.
And these flow states or this zone that we go into or we tap into, I think it's definitely a level of grace that goes into it, and then also a level of conditioning, and then sometimes you just trip up into it,
Yeah,
you know? Um, but I think that these states are landmarks,
right.
you know,
Reference points.
reference points
Hmm.
in our reality that we experience God or nature telling us, hey,
Hmm.
there's something else possible with these bodies, with this gift of life I've given you.
Yeah.
There's something else possible that you get to tap into, you know?
Hmm.
And it's likened to an orgasm
Hmm.
or peak experience, not
Yeah.
necessarily sexual, but it's so full on that
Yeah.
is at that level and it could get even more.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that there could be a trap, right? Because sometimes once you experience it and you experience it often enough, you want that station or the establishment. There's this verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says, establishing being, perform action. And it's all about allowing that zone or flow that you've tasted to eventually become your established
Mm.
everyday station, right?
Hmm.
Because it's a possibility
Hmm.
that we have. Um, but also, maybe there's a trap somewhere in there where you can get your mind can get so attracted to it that you still could go into burnout
Oh yeah.
because it could become
Yeah,
it's
you're addicted to the state. You're addicted to the experience. You're addicted. You're like, I want that, and that becomes. It's like experience junkie, quote unquote.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. uh, well, I don't know, you can addict it to the state like maybe I'll flip those words around a bit, like, well, maybe not. I don't know how to describe it because when I think about the state, right, or the zone or flow, I think about it in terms of like, you know, it's ultimately ineffable how I can describe it, but I'm gonna make an attempt. It's like this moment where is peace that surpasses all understanding, is absolute love. There is frictionless and effortlessness and moving throughout the world. There's spontaneous right action. There's serendipities and synchronicities. There's your heart's desire rendezvousing at your doorstep. There is this relationship between yourself and nature that seems symbiotic, but in a lived way, not just intellectually.
Yeah.
It's completely full on. And so maybe you're saying addicted to it once you taste it is probably more accurate than I'd like to admit.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that that could be an everyday always thing, yeah, I find it completely seductive to run towards.
Mm-hmm.
And it has looked like in my life where I said, F everything else. I
Mm-hmm.
want this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about no job. I don't care about this relationship. I don't care about whatever it was. Right after I had tasted that was just like, this is it. And everything else better be on the way to this or,
Yeah.
but now my understanding is changing a bit
Mm-hmm.
because I'm realizing in that state, there's no questions.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is answered. But after it, your mind or intellect comes back online in a way where it's kind of running the show
Mm-hmm.
and it's making projections about what you experienced when it really has no way of really even speaking to what
Mm-hmm.
that experience was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's making its best guess to send you in that direction. And because of that, it's ignorantly devaluing the relationships around it, the intention about keeping your health up around it, like everything else, it call it the mistake of the intellect,
Mm-hmm.
thinking it knows something and is going to structure things in certain hierarchy
Mm-hmm.
or value systems.
Mm-hmm.
When honestly, this is a wholeness, one organism, one something, one happening going on,
Yeah.
and the intellect wants to, put it in certain hierarchies. Like, oh, this relationship with my mom is less than my relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
It's ignorance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's a wholeness happening. God is omnipresent inside every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only in our lack of perspective and perception that reduces um, God outside of the reality of all our relationships, outside of the reality of this chair, of the trees outside. It already is what it is.
Right.
It's only the intellect or lack of thereof, the the rigid, sort of contracted perception that keeps us from experiencing the wholeness that we already are. Like we're literally already in the flow state,
Mm-hmm.
but our experience of it is not the case
Mm-hmm.
in terms of our being able to perceive it while the happening is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only in that moment where it's that complete symmetry of all these bodies I mentioned,
Yeah.
or where the intellect has expanded to an infinite abstraction where it's no longer questions to be asked. There's no separation between us and the beloved. There is
Mm-hmm.
complete union and merger that we understand that, like, oh, wow, anything outside of this state, what I can confer onto it is will always be the part trying to really describe the whole.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing is that when it is a state, right? This is what you were saying before, state station, right? When it is a state,
Mhm.
one can be addicted to it,
Hmm.
even though it's, and what do I mean when I say addicted to it? I mean, they're chasing after that experience,
Yeah. When
right?
outside of it,
Right,
not when they're in it.
right. So they experience it, now it's done.
And now they make a meaning of it and now go towards it.
Not even meaning of it, it's experience. They had an experience of it,
They
you
have, but they
know?
have no way of after you come, if it's infinite abstraction and transcendence, you come out of it, what you can speak of it and know of it
It's
It's
not it.
and
Yeah.
so they make it the addiction is a
Well,
you get what I'm trying to
no,
point at?
well, you said that for you, it's like, yo, I've experienced that. Everything better be that.
In my ignorance.
Right. Right. Because
But
you're outside of it.
exactly.
Yeah. But the thing is, what I'm saying is that people, they want the experience.
Yeah.
They want the experience.
Pain. Yeah.
And then they want the orgasm.
Yeah.
They don't want the relationship.
Facts. They want the relationship. They just
Nah,
don't know they want it.
no.
They,
But that's what I'm saying. It becomes that's I just want the experience. I don't want anything,
yeah.
outside of it.
It's because it's a mistake of the intellect. They don't
Yeah.
know that they want the whole thing. They don't know that they even have the whole thing.
Right.
It's just
Right.
when they come back. You
Yeah.
get what I'm trying to say?
So then it just becomes from one experience to another. It becomes, I'm gonna do whatever it takes so that I'm in that flow state, or
Yeah.
I won't even call it flow state, whatever this experience, mystical flow, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just want to experience that.
Yeah. Whether I gotta take some shrooms or do whatever my
Whatever.
process is.
Yeah. I'm gonna meditate. If I'm going through meditate, I'm gonna meditate. And
Right.
then, but outside of it, nothing changes, nothing happens. It just constantly, it's always at the level of state.
Uh-huh.
It's always at the level of um, experience one over time, and it's not actually being established
Yeah.
within the person themselves.
Right. But that's the thing. Truth be told, well, I guess semantics. When you say it's not actually being established in the person, right? What do we mean when we say that? Because technically, oh, can I say
No,
technically? You
no.
know what I'm about to say?
What? I mean, in reality, sure.
But when so it's not needing to be established in the person. It's not that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is the person's ability to perceive what they are, what the happening is either expanded to living it or reduced to talking about it and thinking you're seeing it from a distance. The inability to acknowledge in a lived way that I'm living it, not just intellectually, causes us to say, oh, it needs to
I
unfold inside.
disagree.
Can you tell me
Yes,
what I'm saying?
I
Just so
disagree.
that we get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is that it's already the state, the person is already in that station. Is just the lack of their awareness and their perception that's happening. There's a lot of veils that's
Okay,
taking
then yeah.
place,
That's exactly
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tell me about your disagreement.
So the because there's the happening is going from 2 points, right? The the subjective point, right? The duality, the point of duality. Now everything, we can say everything is oneness, right? And we're just lifting veils.
Only from the level of only when you're in it. Well, how do you describe this? To say everything is oneness is an intellectual conceptualization.
Yes,
But when you are in that state or station, it is not intellectual
I
conceptual.
understand.
And so when you're in that state, you can speak to something, but when you're outside the state, the awareness of it, we speak as if dualistically.
I
And that's what
understand.
causes the
What I'm saying is that it needs the point of will and action and effortlessness. I mean, we
okay.
talked about that in one of the books that we read once.
Uh-huh.
Um, Damn, I forgot the name of the book. Anyway, the effort and effortless path.
Yes.
These 2 points are valid.
Facts.
That's what I'm saying. I'm pointing towards
But not to
that.
the happening.
Of course, to the happening.
How?
Of course, to the happening. If I say, okay, I'm a musician,
Yes.
right? And I just need to change my perception around being able to play a particular instrument, let's say the frame drum.
Uh-huh.
but I don't practice. I don't increase my skill. I don't
Oh
increase
yeah,
my capacity
that's fact.
in order to be established. That's what I mean when I say established.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, so you're talking about doing something to your nervous system so that your experience, your perception can be a certain way. This is, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's something very different than um let's say God or the experience we're talking about coming into you. That's not what's happening. What's happening is something is happening where you are in your perception, in your awareness, in the way you move your body that's allowing your awareness to engage differently with the reality that's always ever occurring, even when you can't
Yeah.
describe it or speak to it. Now, when it comes to a happening or conditioning ourselves and things like that, yes, we got to refine ourselves. You got to learn to play the piano before you can play the piano and all that stuff, or get in the zone with the piano. But all these things is us learning how to operate the talisman, how to refine the
Yeah.
talisman to a point to where it can actually acknowledge the reality of um, playing the piano or
Right.
doing something
Right. That's what I'm saying. It increases the capacity
of the nervous
of
system
the nervous system in
to
order
do what?
for the perception to be refined in order to be in that state. Even experience that as a station for it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah,
a thing,
yeah,
you
yeah. An
know?
established way. Yeah,
Otherwise, I mean, okay, we can, God willing, to the grace of God, it can happen,
yeah.
you know? Um, the thing is, even with that, there's danger.
Meaning
But I don't
like,
want to go into that. But
oh,
you know, to go back is the when that state, right, or that flow is not being um, either not one is not increasing their capacity, right, in that state flow or to be in that state flow, or um, being more and more in that state of like, okay, this is I love what I do, I'm doing it, da-da-da. It's definitely gonna burn out is gonna be from the fact of overwork, over output,
mm-hmm,
um,
mm,
overdoing,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
overdoing.
yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
agree. Especially
Yeah.
from the perspective of the mistake of the intellect or an awareness that is, trying to do something that, I mean, it's trying to listen to the books, read the books, and do what the teachers are saying, what the gurus are saying, what the anything it can do to kind of taste that thing or establish that thing again. I respect it. I mean, I've been doing the same thing,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
and definitely created a burnout, whether it looks like parts of my life not being conditioned or trained as it should have been in a balanced way
Hmm.
while trying to cultivate perception or a state of awareness
Hmm.
or in a lived way.
Yeah.
Um, it's just I think that's a level of burnout too, or using all your money up
Hmm.
to get
Yeah.
this thing and
Yeah.
refining
Yeah.
stuff. All of this,
Yeah.
whether it's a burnout of the exhaustion of physiology or your finances or your relationships that have
Yeah.
been in jeopardy
Mentally.
because mentally, all these things is a possibility because of the intellect mistaking it knows something.
Yeah. When in reality it doesn't,
Yeah,
or projecting meaning on it, or whatever. All these
yeah,
things.
yeah. Like it could know something,
Yeah.
but it should also know that like whatever I do know, maybe it can put me in a direction, but it's not the whole truth, Antoine.
Right.
It's not the whole truth. When you engage with it, I have to be open to possibilities
Yeah.
because I do know that like just in language alone, like you could say something, I could say something, it's the same thing, but we mean different things.
Hmm.
The spectrum of vision is we can't see the whole thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's
Yeah.
so much happening in the unmanifest or
Yeah.
the invisible um, that if I can continually let myself know, all right, I'm going to trust this direction I'm going in based on the data that I have,
Right.
and I've tasted these things going in this direction. I'm going to continue in this direction.
Yeah.
I get that it might cause me burnout here and there, but this is the map that I have.
Yeah.
And until something else comes along or until I'm in that state where I can make a choice from there
Hmm.
and clearly, um, you know,
Yeah.
know that I know,
Right.
I'm open to being,
Hmm.
clear that I'm ignorant about a lot of
Hmm.
this,
Hmm.
especially when I'm not in that state or station,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.